data type, you can let me know down in the comment section. Then the next one is bool. Yeah, it's a boolean data type. Remember, in our logic gate in our secondary school, or yeah, logic gate secondary school, you will say and, or, nor, all those kind of stuff. Now, the physical or the real world application of logic gate is the Boolean aspect, the bool data type. Is used to introduce either on or off, true or false, one or zero. So I want you to note that on or off is a data type of type bool in Python programming language. Let's come here and say is let's say is aged. That means if someone can play or the person cannot play. So we have a variable called is aged. You understand? Or let's say can play. It's still a variable name, can play. Now is a variable that turns on or off. It flags on or off to tell if someone can play or not, and say is true. Let's come down here and say is aged, then send this to false. You understand? Now let's run this program to print both can play and is aged. You can see it will print out true, false. That will be the output. You can see it here, true, false. Now we want to check the type of data type these two variables are. Then we'll go down here and print out type can play and type is aged. And when you run this, we're going to see bool, class bool. Yeah, you can see they are both Boolean data type. So that is that. Then the next data type is I think complex. Yeah, complex. You know all those mathematics whereby you have imaginary parts. I don't know. Maybe you want to find the coordinate of 2 points and you're having imaginary value. It might seem not to exist because any value you can imagine it doesn't exist. Imaginary value. So something like 2j, or let's say 2 plus 1j. Yeah, all these are imaginary parts. Let's say num equals this. Sorry, 2j. Yeah, if you have something like this, num, this is not, let's print first and see the output. Print num, excuse me. If I print num, you can actually see the value assigned to the num. Yeah, but when you run, you can see 2 plus 2j. There are extra more spaces here. So, but when you print type, no, my system is quite low. I can't imagine why the problem is or what is causing all this. Okay, let's run and see the type of variable, the data type of this variable now. You can see it is of type complex. Yeah. So these are the list of data types in Python programming language. And don't forget to remind me if I didn't mention any data type here. I'm making this video out of script, or I'm making this video just off hard. So if there is any data type I did not cover in this video, just let me know down in the comment section below. I'll be glad to cover such data type as well. So the next thing, let's just do a physical application of what we've done today by doing assigning variables in Python programming language, variables and data type. So let's go down, or let's create another file. Right click here, file, new file, and I want this file to be Python file, and I want name, or let's say variable dot py. Okay, it has py extension automatically. Very important to understand these two concepts of data types in Python programming language. The first one is list data type, and the second one is tuple, and the last one is a dictionary. Yeah, it's very, very important to understand this. Now let's start with Python. Sorry, let's start with a list. All right. To declare a list, by definition, a list is Python data type that holds list of variables of different data type or the same data type. So a list can hold a variable of different data type or a variable of the same data type. So for instance, it's not like an array. It has the same concept of an array in other programming language, but in Python programming language, a list holds variable of different data type. For instance, I can say, let's just take for example, I can say student name one is Daniel. This is a variable of type string. Student name two is Dokike. I love using my name anyways. Student name three is let's say Michael. Now you can see how and kind of messy your code is becoming at this point. So instead of you want to store student names and different student names at a time. So instead of you storing different names like student name one, student name two, and storing it in different variables, you can have one variable name that contains the names of the students. So let's go back and I'll show you how to do this. You can say student names equals you opening and closing block bracket, opening and closing a bracket. Now this holds, excuse me, okay, this holds the list or the items of this list. When you have student names, the first one is Daniel, the second one is Udokike, the next one is Michael. You can enter as many names as you want here. Student names, Daniel, Michael, and sorry, Daniel, Udokike, and Michael. Now, can you imagine this having one variable that stores these three names? And this is one good thing about a list. You can come down here. If you want to access or if you want to print out or if you want to get the elements or the items of this list, they have a list has an index. The index of a list starts from 0 through n minus 1. For instance, if you have three items here, the index of the first item is 0, the index of the second item is 1, then the index of the third item is 2. So if you want to access this element, the first one, you can print this element as print student names, then 0. If you want to print Daniel, sorry, Udokika, you print student names, 1, sorry, student names, 1. Then the last one is 2, student names, then 2. If you run this program, it will print Daniel, Udokike, and Michael. Let's run it and see. You can see it here. Daniel, Udokike, and Michael. And that's what a list is. So a list is a data type in Python that holds many items or many variables. It can be variables of different data type and it can be variables of the same data type. So then the next one is um, a tuple. This is a list. The next one is a tuple. If you want to also check the data type of these student names to confirm that is a variable of type list, you can say print type student names and run the program. It print out class of list. Then the next one is a tuple. Now, a tuple and a list, they are the same. The only difference between a tuple and a list is a list is mutable, which means you can dynamically change the value of a list. but a tuple is immutable, which means you cannot dynamically change the value or the content of a tuple. So let's go by saying student names again. Now, now a list uses block bracket while um, what's it called? Why a tuple uses bracket, normal bracket. So a list uses a block bracket, a tuple uses a normal bracket. So we can have the same name, Daniel, Udokike, and Michael. Oh, I spelled my name wrongly. Okay, now it's right now. So now you can as well access, you can use this and print the name the same way, then run it. It works the same way. You can see class of string. Let's print out the type of this one as well to check the type of data type the tuple is. It's coming up. You can see this is a tuple and this is a list. Yeah, so these are the difference. Now let's come here and say student. Okay, let's dynamically change the content. Let's come here and say student 0 equals let's say Emmanuel. Yeah. Student name 0 equals Emmanuel. If you run this program, instead of us having Daniel, Dokike, and Michael, we're going to have Emmanuel, Dokike, and Michael. Let's run it. You can see here it is, let me expand this. You can see this is Emmanuel, Udokike, and Michael. And for the tuple, we're still having Daniel, Udokike, and Michael. So to tell you that the value of a list can be dynamically changed, while the data of a tuple cannot be dynamically changed. If we try to do this on this tuple, we get an error. In fact, you can see that our IDE is hinting us that this has an error there. And if you read this through, this emet here, you see that tuples do not support item assignment. So you can dynamically set an item for tuple. So that's the difference. There are reasons for this. Maybe you want to set let me say an IP address of a user. Once they've logged in, you don't want them to change it or something. There is a reason for having these data types in Python programming language, and we're going to cover them in the future. All right. So what next we need to cover here is control flow, the if statements, loops, and then maybe we'll be covering function in the later videos. Now, the control flow in Python programming language is used to dynamically control how our program works. It's in kind of making decision using Python programming language. So let's start with the if statement. The if statement works a way that if an evaluation is true, it will execute the particular block. But if it's not true, it will now execute another particular block, but not two blocks at the same time. For instance, if you have if um, student name, then the first one, if it is equal to, remember this is assignment. Single equal to is assignment, then double equal to is equality. It checks if the value in the left hand side is the same with the value in the right hand side. But this is an assignment. It assigns the value in the right hand side to a variable in the left hand side. So if we check if the first name, remember as we are doing this, we are referring to this last one. Yeah, because the first one has completed its execution and then the last one starts. So if first name, then we are targeting the first item in this tuple is equal to Daniel. If it is Daniel, then colon. Now you are declaring your code block. If it is equal to Daniel, if this statement is equal to Daniel, column, this column signifies the starting of your code block. In other programming language, you can use curly bracket this way to do that. But in Python programming language, you use the colon to declare a code block. So if student zero is Daniel, they'll now print logged in successfully. Now this kind of aspect is used in building application for user authentication. Something like if the username and the password is correct, then you print in logged in successfully, then log the user to the dashboard. But if it is not correct, they will now error a message like invalid username or password. So this is a check that is the first item in this tuple is Daniel. If it is Daniel, print logged in successfully. If it is not, it won't print anything because there is no other code below this. So let's run it and see. So you can see it logged in successfully because the first item in this tuple is Daniel. Then let's take it to Udokike. We know that the first item in this tuple is not Udokike, but let's run it and see what the output will be. You can see nothing is printed. Yeah. So now, this is where we consider the else part of this. You can be like, if it is raining, I'll go to school with an umbrella. But if it is not raining, then I won't go to school with an umbrella. So if this check works out, this code will get executed. How about this check does not work out? That is where we introduce else. If this is this, else print invalid username. Now, if it is wrong, we print out invalid username. Let's run it and see. Now, you can see invalid username. It gets printed because the first item in this tuple is not Udokike, rather is Daniel. But if it is Daniel, it will now say logged in successfully. Let's see. You can see logged in successfully because